Hello, this is Logic Quicks Tutorials, and today we're going to be looking at a little bit of pop theory, or a little bit of theory basically, but with a little pop twist on it. But first, I ask you the start of a joke and see if you can work it out before next episode. The start is, it's hopefully music based. How does Snoop Dogg clean his car? See if you can work that out before next time. If you can, post it in the comments. Right, we'll start with the basics. Hopefully if you're watching this video, you know that in C major, the first note is third note and fifth note. And you know that this forms the fundamental chord of C major. This is called a tonic triad. But what you might not know is that there is two other chords that are the major chords in music. Because for any given key, such as C, there are three chords which are called primary chords, which are most used in that key. They are chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. Up one more. And they're used the most. And just to demonstrate that, you can see that the most popular chord sequence in the whole of pop music is chord 1, 5, 6, and 4, such as this. And there's a great video on YouTube by Axis of Awesome, where they show how many songs they can play with just that chord sequence, and it goes on for a long time. It's mental how many songs they can play. Just to name one is Don't Stop Believing. There's a lots more. But you can see in that chord sequence contains all three of the primary chords. So they're very important, clearly. Now, what we're going to look at next is music that's the chords that are kind of used in a bit of house music, but they can also be used in pop music. These are called, well, generally these are sevenths or sixes. Now you might not really know what these are, and that's what I'm going to show you now. This is a sixth. Sounds quite nice, quite funky, quite groovy, and quite fruity. Now, all we have to do here is play a normal C major chord, and then put a sixth on it. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just add that. Same with the seventh, or those two. And for instance, even with the chords, the two primary chords 1 and 5, these are also really commonly used in classical music. For instance, such as when you're coming to the end of the piece and you need to use what's called a cadence, which is a chord sequence at the end, is the most common is called a perfect cadence, which is a chord 5 with a 7 or 5/7 to 1, and it's got a finishing feel. So if you listen now, I'll play it. That's called 5 with a 7th on it, then just add the dominant 7th on it, and then play the first chord. Play it again. Chord 5 to chord 1. And that is just called a perfect cadence. And that just shows you how much they are really used the whole time. Now, for instance, in house music, where these would be used is, for instance, if you go into MIDI effects and go into Chord Trigger, this tool here, it's kind of cheating, but if you know the theory, I suppose it's just about okay. If you press Learn and then play a C major 7th, minor 7th, then now when you play that in Logic, if we turn this up, you get a 7th chord. And you just have to play one note and it'll play the 7th of that. These are commonly used in house, but are also kind of used in pop music as well. Anyway, moving on. There are also different ways you can play a chord, and these are called inversions. So, for instance, this chord, a tonic triad on C, that's called root, because that is in the root position. That is the very start. C major starts on C, so you play the 1, 3, and 5 of that. Now, if you look at those, the notes are C, E, and G. But now I'm going to show you what first inversion is. Basically, you just move it up. So now I still play E, G, and C, but instead of having the C down here, I have it here. And you can hear that sounds quite different as well. Now, you might not be able to see that, or I'll just put it here. Now you will. Sorry. Gone up a bit too far. Here we are. So instead of playing like this, you play it like this, and that sounds quite different. But now, this is called first inversion. If I play second inversion, now I just put the bottom note of this, which is the E, I put that on top, so like this. And that is a different way of playing the chord. So, and it sounds different. This sounds different to this. But technically, it's exactly the same chord, really. Although it's just in a different position, or inversion, as it's called. And this can really make a difference to how you play a piece. For instance, if you know Earth, Wind and Fire's September, the main chords of that of the chorus are such as this. Now, in order to do that, I have to move my hand quite a lot. From that to that, that's as far as it goes. Now, that's not too much, but I can make it much easier for myself if I play it like this. You see, I had to move a lot less. And that's because this chord is in reality very, very similar to this. I'm just moving this and putting it up there. Putting an octave above, which means that it makes it easier. And then, putting this chord, I'm going to get this note and put it at the bottom. And that will make it. And that's easier to change from the original as well that I just played. So these inversions do have a very practical use as well, such as that. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. There'll be another episode on more theory in a couple of days, I think, or maybe shorter. But thanks for joining me, and if you remember to comment if you get the end of the pun, and please comment, rate and subscribe. Thanks very much.